Hey everybody, welcome back to the Fish Tank. We got some 2v2 action for you today. Just a Premades match, not tournament at the moment. But this was just a fun game that I had with Darksun and myself. Now, just to point out, we may be the highest combined level duo that you'll ever see. I'm level 700 and something. Darksun's 800 and something, I think. So combined, we have an insane amount of experience. The reason I wanted to show this match to you was because it featured Shroom. And of course, we know Shroom in the latest patch did get a slight nerf. You can't split on shields. So I thought it'd be fun to illustrate how she is now compared to how she was before. Now, both teams are playing Shroom. Darksun is playing one, and the opponents, of course, are wildcarding them, which is always going to be where the main issue comes. But yeah, let's jump into the action and see how it works out. Okay, so Darksun is playing King Puff, and I am playing Milloween. We're against Volko, and we're against Mordar. Now, one thing to mention with Mordar is if you are playing Shroom with Mordar, regardless of how small the Shroom gets, it will always revive as the full fat version, which can then again start splitting. Nice high five to start with. Rapid response reserves, of course, because everyone's playing those. Right, first Shroom come out. Let's see how we can handle it. So the Cleaver's a decent answer. Chain Lightning is fairly painful for us at the bottom, but the Cleaver takes out one at the bottom. This hill. So as soon as you find out that they've got a hill shrine, you need to keep that in mind for the rest of the match. You've got to pay attention to pushing into bridges, because it changes things. You can't just push into a bridge against a big unit with that hill behind, unless you've got some way of shutting down that. So that's something that we've seen, and we need to try to pay attention to. Now, there are black holes in play in this match as well, so again, that's something we need to pay attention to. So if your opponent has a black hole and you are using Rimagal's Breath, you need to try to use it in a way so you're hitting stuff on both lanes, so that they can prevent damage with the black hole, but only on one of the lanes. Right, Tombstone's active, but it's only going to spawn a Zhao instead of a Shroom, so that's a good little interaction for us there. Remember, if you look at the Mordar units, if there's an active Tombstone, there will be a small, faint green circle around their base. That is basically just an illustration that there is a Tombstone active. I'm not sure if it's an active Tombstone or just a Tombstone is in play. Maybe we'll find out. So they're still using the Squire Puff at the bottom there, but of course it doesn't generate the split. So maybe they haven't read the patch notes, or maybe they're just trying to get value out of it. Right, so we got the Siege Breaker at the bottom, which was, of course, from the Rapid Response Reserves. Bridge Switch gets us out of the Bridge Burn, which is nice. Now we see our own Shroom splitting on the Growth Burst Shrooms. And that's our black hole defending our units. So we've got some good pressure on here. XP, we're doing okay. We know Mordar's going to be a little bit disgusted in late game, and of course the potential to res those full fat Shroom can be a little bit terrifying, but we've got a good push on here. Got some good value on the Tombstone, shutting that down. Battle Monkey's going to be a good answer here. It does have Growth Burst Shroom. Remember, it did get slightly nerfed in the latest patch, so it isn't as tanky, but its DPS is still there. Got some good Kernerf and spell combinations. And we're close to perk 3. That means potential Night Puffs. And of course, thicker Arcane Golems. Always want to try to shut down that Shroom Puff on the bridge, because it's an easy Shroom, especially if it is Zenshi flowed. Right, splits coming. So remember, with the breath, we're trying to make sure that we can hit both lanes. So they can black hole it, but they can't deny the value completely. Now you see the immediate resurrection of the Shroom, and this is where it can get out of control. If they only had one of them, as always, it would be no contest. But the fact they're wildcarding it and they can cycle through so quickly, that's when it becomes really problematic. I did put a poll up on my YouTube about people's thoughts on wildcards, so if you want to have your say on that, unofficially of course, check it out and let us know. What do you think of wildcards? Where do you think they should be? Okay, so again, we've got good XP. Some good black hole usage from both teams. There you see the Shroom armor splits as it spawns. Oh, I think it splits when it spawns because it gets I was trying to think why it splits immediately. Because it gets the spirit from the tombstone at perk 2 and beyond. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, now suddenly it gets out of control. This is where the sound effects kind of go insane. We just hear all these footsteps of these little buggers. Right, so the breath comes in. The problem there is that we've kind of pulled everything together in the middle, so their black hole can deny the breath entirely. So that may have been a little bit of a mistake on our side. Need to keep them separate. Right, this is scary. We've got Mana Frenzy, but we need to clear this just Shroom invasion. And it could be difficult because you can see there's been a revive. The next one's coming. They'll be cycling, trying to get more of them. Now, the more they split them, the more valuable our AoE becomes, since it hits all of them, and the more they are. It's kind of just like spreading out their HP. It's increasing the DPS of our AoE where possible. But look at the top. That's insane. Remember, this is after they were nerfed, so thank God they can't split from shields anymore. Shields were really annoying because they maintained the shield as well, which made it really difficult to deny anything. Okay, that's not a great breath there. Not sure who's there. It's difficult. I wish there was a little bit of an indication between whose breath it was. I think it was a discussion in the Discord. It would be nice to see if it's a friendly breath or an enemy breath. Right, we are kind of coming back. AoE is really helping us out. But remember, we've had Mana Frenzy for a minute or so now, and we are struggling to even get a glimpse of a bridge. If they can get their own Mana Frenzy, then this could be curtains for us. Right, so again, we can breath both lanes. They look like they have a black hole available, so that's great value from that breath. Okay, we've got onto the top lane. We've got a bridge. Remember, we've got Mana Frenzy, so the bridges are really going to help us against a non-Mana Frenzy team. They are close to their own, though. But I think it looks like we have managed to regain control in the nick of time. As I mentioned before, if they got some Mana Frenzy with the bridges, they would overrun us. But we've just got the bridges as they've got their Mana Frenzy. They were so far behind. We had Mana Frenzy for a huge amount of time. Just goes to show how difficult it is to push into these Shroom Ummers when wildcarded with Mordar. But we did a great job holding on. We did, of course, have the Mana Frenzy. Extra mana. But now we've got the Crush on. There's no way they can hold on to this. We're getting DPS onto their tombstones. We've got both of the bridges. They held out with the Shrooms for a long time, but we had just enough of an XP lead. And that just goes to show early doors how important it is to get all that XP. And they're one hit away. And there we go. Game, set, and match. The Shroomers have been defeated. I do feel like, though, had that been in the last patch, I don't think that we would have won that. But who knows? Remember, you can't split the Shroom Shumis on the shield anymore. The shields can still be valuable. Stops the single damage spells like a Fireball or Chain Lightning, but no extra splits. And there we go. So let me know what you think. Have you been playing Shroom Shumi in the latest patch? Do you feel that she's a lot weaker now that she received that slight restriction on what can be counted as a positive effect? Have you come up against them? Are you doing better against them? Let us know what your feelings are of this this patch, this nerf really in action. Anyway, that's all I wanted to show you today. Fun game, lots of shrooms. Make sure you hit the follow, subscribe button. Probably subscribe since we're on YouTube. so you don't miss out on any of the Minion Masters updates and actions and tournaments. Don't forget, check out the tournaments, put links in the description. 1v1 and 2v2 tournaments upcoming if you're watching this shortly after it's gone live. And as always, my name's BadAsAFish, and I'm awkwardly waving.